going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the NBA Betting Show here on the YouTube channel for FTN. We are for the numbers, and we are for the people as well. That's why we're doing this every Wednesday at about 4 o'clock Eastern Time. It's me, Dane Martinez, at Spittin' Speeds. We got our guy Noops in the building, and of course, Sam Chowdhury as well. We're going to give you some of our plays, some of our props, some of our picks. Noops and I are on the same exact thing for one of them, but it actually highlights, Noops, the glory of the prop shop, right? Because there's a couple of props we're given today where it really depends on how much juice you're willing to take, right? Like you could do some things at minus 140, minus 150, even minus 160, or you can get a little bit riskier, change the number, and get, kind of better juice out there. So that's part of the reason why, Noops, the prop shop is what a great tool, along with the prop model, the betting model, and all the other tools over at FTN, right?
Oh, absolutely. It helps you a lot. And one of the best things you can do, it's like one of those first three things. Everybody's like, I'm getting into betting. What should I do? Write all your plays down, set a budget, and make sure you get as many books open as possible, because the more odds you have, the less juice you're going to pay, the bigger return. And that really adds up over time. So again, get out there. And of course, if you haven't signed up for any books, make sure you do it through FTN. Some really great sign-up bonuses and a few extra cherries on top of what you can get just on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll also let you guys know. I usually do it on Sirius Show. I've got a promo code for you. FTN Show is a promo code you can use to get 15% off of our subscription. We also already, season-long fantasy and football is in the playoffs. We're deep into the NBA season. We are already getting ready for baseball season. We've got a little early bird special for our baseball package. Guys like MLB Dream, guys like Vlad, giving you our rankings and all that. I was talking on the radio show, being like to Juan Soto, I will take 1% of your contract and I will drive you around. I will be your chef. I will be your bodyguard. I will show you all the spots you need in Washington Heights, La Marina, Dykeman Street. I will be your guide if you needed it for a mere 1% of his contracts that will go for over $750 million. But when the baseball season is ready, you will already be ready if you get the early bird special with our baseball package. Sam, it is a light slate tonight, to be sure, right? Only 2 games, but we are in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. The Knicks are 8-point favorites at home against the Hawks, and then the Rockets are 2.5-point favorites against the Golden State Warriors. I want to ask you, before we get into the plays, Sam, when we were doing the kind of group stage, right, point differential mattered. And so we were talking about kind of conceptual things like the starters staying out there longer, people caring about winning margin, thinking about live numbers and things like that. Does that still remain the case here now that we're in the kind of knockout round of the tournament?
Not really. The thing is with the knockout round of the tournament is you expect the games to be more competitive anyway, but if there is a blowout one way or the other, I don't know, because we have the Knicks playing today, and if they're blowing a team out, it really doesn't matter. All the guys are going to play all the minutes. Right. But in general, like when you do see a blowout, you can see the starters getting pulled. So you don't have that same floor of them no matter what. They'll be on the court. But for the most part, it sort of has that playoff atmosphere where you see the rotations get cut down, the starters get more run. But I guess slightly it is similar, but it's kind of different. You still have the risk of blowout.
All right. Well, let's start with you, Sam. We got Hawks and Knicks at the world's most famous arena. And we are starting with one of these guys that you were saying, like, you've been looking for this guy's prop all season long, and they're just finally inching it up, but it's not high enough for you to not take here in this quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, anyone in the FTN Discord knows that anytime the Hawks play on the slate, Dyson Daniels over 2.5 assists. that's been a go-to play for me, but now it's bumped up to 3.5, so I had to find a different way to play it. But this is also one that I like is the 14.5 points plus assists. Dyson Daniels, he's obviously known for his defense, one of the best defending guards in the league right now, and he's so young, but still 14.5 is a pretty low line. You look at his point props at 12.5, so if I think he clears the 2.5, like I said, his assist line is 3.5. But if I think he gets 3 relatively easily, I think he does get 4, to be honest. But you look at him on the season, he's over this number in 14 out of 23 games overall this season. So a little over 60%. He's averaging 13.7 points. So almost right there, 3.3 assists and 6.7 potential assists. So he's almost clearing this on points alone on the season. he gets a slight uptick in games with Onyeka Okongwu, and we've seen that Okongwu recently has been playing a lot more, getting a lot more run than Capella as of late. I don't know how sticky that is, but then you look at it, even with DeAndre Hunter, he's over this line in 9 out of 15 games, so almost 65% there. And you're just seeing a massive uptick in the last several games. It's not that he's just barely getting over this number. Like, he's smashing, he's getting over 20. So I think it's going to be an up and pace game. Obviously, New York isn't a great matchup, but he's another guy that's just going to be on the court all the time. And even though he's not a prolific scorer, I mean, he probably has to get 10, 11 points to clear this line.
All right, fair enough. We like Dyson Daniels in that combo bet. Speaking about guys who are on the floor all the time, you referenced the Knicks, right? And Thibodeau will run all his guys out. But to be sure, Noops, one of the guys who's actually had a little bit of an increase in minutes lately is OG Anunoby. He's been on the floor a lot. I know, Sam, you mentioned that the pace of this game, the Atlanta Hawks, I think, are the third fastest paced team in the NBA. So that is some more opportunities. And Noops, you and I both think that can benefit OG tonight.
Yeah, I like kind of what Sam said about minutes being stretched out here, and I think that's the big difference in terms of what we've seen in these previous NBA Cup games. This is a little more important. You know, it's not quite a playoff game, but we saw it last night. Both teams took these games very seriously. It did have a bit of a playoff atmosphere. We saw the starters play extended minutes. That means if you're looking at starters, kind of adjust your model, start to look towards overs there. Backups, you're looking for a little bit less. Ended games will be a little different. I don't think we'll see teams running and fouling as much to kind of try to keep margin where it is. It'll be a little bit, again, more like a playoff game where they grind it down. All of this is good for OG Anunoby, who has seen not only his minutes increase, but his shots increase. He's gone over this number a handful of times in the last few games with poor efficiency. In games where he's really not shot the ball well, he continues to get this number. So if we get even average efficiency against a Hawks team that struggles on defense, I think not only does he get to 17.5, I like what we're seeing from our model over here at FTN. We've got him at just over 20 points. We priced this over 17.5 at minus 148. So you put the plus 100 down there in the bottom. We're looking at an EV of a little over 19%. That's a really nice bet. Again, qualitatively, I see a lot of reasons to be excited about this, given the matchup, given the situation, his minutes. And again, quantitatively, our model likes this as well. It checks all my boxes.
Yeah, fair enough. And let me just say, I guess this is a plug for the prop shop, right? I mentioned this to you guys before here. Noops is on this over 17.5. You can get that at even money. I'm going to be slightly more conservative. You can get it over 16.5. You got to spend 20 cents there at juice over at BetMGM. But I also, listen, I'm not mad at you, Noops. I think he's going to get 18 or more as well. I like a lot of the things you said. Just to add on, the minutes increase as there. Like you said, he's been sort of inefficient as of late. Still shoots 49% from the floor on the season. I talked about the Atlanta Hawks and their kind of pace. I think that is more scoring opportunities in the game that I think is like 236 or 237 for a total. But one of the things you mentioned, he hasn't been shooting the ball well. In the last 2 games, Noobs, only 4 from 17 from beyond the arc. However, the Atlanta Hawks allow opponents to shoot the 3 at the best rate in the entire NBA. Opponents of Atlanta are shooting the 3-pointer at 38.7%. OG is 37% for the season. So I think that there's an opportunity here for positive regression for him to get back on track. You put in the minutes there. I think he's going to score just like you guys were saying. And so I will take the 1-point discount, take the 20 cents of juice, and I will go over 16.5 points for OG Anunoby. One of the things I was wondering about, though, Noops, is, OG playing that role, getting more minutes. He's been, over 31 minutes or like 39 minutes, I think, in the last couple of games. And part of that has also been Josh Hart, who does similar things sometimes on the floor. He's been nursing kind of an ankle injury. He's questionable. He's going to go, but it looks like you are not scared. I actually thought that was better for the OG bets, right? Just in case, but you are not scared about Josh Hart being involved in this one either.
No, I think maybe being a little physically limited helps him want to pass the ball more.
Okay.
We've seen in these spots in big games, the Knicks really lean on him as kind of a secondary ball handler. From a matchup perspective, Jalen Brunson, the lead guard there, I think is going to have a lot more success off ball with Trae Young either on him in a bad matchup, or if Dyson Daniels is on him, they're going to need to get the ball out of his hands, run him through some screens and stuff. I just think that we're going to see Hart as kind of a hub of a lot of action tonight. And again, in this spot, we're going to see extended minutes. We should see a pretty solid game. The matchup makes sense for me. I look over here for our model at FTN. We've got it projected at 6.1 assists, a little bit more than that. We priced this at minus 134. So again, you put in there, you're looking at almost a 15% EV bet there. And there's some better prices, by the way. Shop this around a little bit. I try to give you guys kind of the number that I would look for at least. But again, go to the prop shop. You can do that for free and check that out. You might even do a little bit better. But I like this spot for Hart. A lot of minutes should be a lot of opportunities. So hopefully, Dane, we see a couple of these passes to OG Anunoby, at least, 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. If he gets 6, they could go to OG, or he can go to someone I am also betting. This is our last play for Knicks and Hawks. And listen, this one, there is a wide range at the prop shop, okay? So I think you guys got to go on over, but I am on the big man, Karl Anthony Towns, big bodega. You talk about assists from Josh Hart. He could be beyond the arc. Give me Karl Anthony Towns here. Over 1.5 threes is all the way at minus 175, but over 2.5 threes is plus 155 over at Bet Rivers. I mean, Cat has hit 2 or more threes in his last 3 games. You saw the dagger he put in to the Toronto Raptors earlier this week. He's also gone over 2 or more threes in 6 of his last 8 games, in 8 of his last 11 games, and in 13 of the 16 games he has played recently for the New York Knicks. I told you about the percentages that the Hawks are giving up from beyond the arc. I think Cat can take advantage of this. Cat is shooting 44.7% from three-point land so far this season. That is the 3rd best mark in the NBA. That's not a guard. That's not a wing. Basically, it's Nikola Jokic and then Karl Anthony Towns pretty much. But, Jokic is doing absolutely everything, right? Again, the three-point shooting allowed from Atlanta. Again, the fastest pace there for Atlanta. So I think there will be more opportunities. And our model suggests 2.5-point threes for Cat. That is a 7.8% edge if you take the over 1.5 threes. So remember, there's other ways. Like Sam, I know you like to do the conservative parlay, right? So maybe you don't want to go over the 2.5, maybe 1.5, or even just to get 1 in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game, and Karl Anthony Towns does frequently shoot from beyond the arc, and quite honestly, he has a great percentage. So I think it is safe for him to get 2 or maybe even 3 threes in this game. Sam, can I get you to put Cat 1 3 at least in your conservative parlay for the night?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know there's a lot of books that are doing promos and stuff for the parlays. Obviously, you want to be smart about them. I mean, normally parlays aren't the most plus EV way to do it, but I mean, if you know what you're doing, some books, they don't even dock you for the negative correlation on 3s plus points. So if you can find a book where you can get Cat, 20 points, 2 threes, go ahead and hammer that one. So just be on the lookout for some of those things.
All right, fair enough. Let's go to the late game here in the Western Conference in the quarterfinals. It is the Houston Rockets, who are 2.5-point favorites on the Golden State Warriors. The total stands around 222, 222.5, things in that area. Go ahead and go to our tools over at FTN, and you can get the best number to be sure. Sam, we will start with you. You're going with another combo for Mr. Draymond Green.
Yeah, this one's definitely one of my favorite ones. The 11.5 rebounds and assists. Number one, the one thing that I look at on the rebounds and assists is a lot of times you'll see these guys where the math doesn't make sense. He has a 6.5 rebounds line and a 5.5 assist line. I mean, he can hit 1 and he clears it pretty easily. So that's one thing that obviously stood out. But I mean, I've been playing Draymond Green 12.5, 13.5, and I mean, he's gotten there for the most part. Overall in the season, he has 13 or more assists and rebounds in about 62% of games. On the season, he's averaging 6 assists, seeing 11.1 potential assists and 6.4 rebounds, again on 11.4 chances. But then with Steph Curry, that goes up to about 65%. And if you guys recall, in the beginning of the season, he saw super limited minutes. So right. I think this number is sort of baking in more of the season-long average, because if you give Draymond Green his full complement of minutes, even if we just go to 22 minutes, he's over this number in 72.2% of games, 13 out of 18 games there. So, I mean, I think he gets closer to 30, but that's conservative going down to 22 minutes. And I think this is bumped down because of the Houston matchup. It is a difficult matchup as far as assists goes. But like I said, when a guy's hitting close to 73% on this line and you're bringing it down that much because of a matchup, I'm going to hit it every time. And in this matchup specifically, Draymond Green, he smashed it. So when he's played at least 22 minutes, he's over this in 16 straight games against Houston. So this line, it just feels way too low. I'm not really sure how they landed on this. Again, like I said, if you look at his rebounds and assists line, he needs to go over one of them to clear this. So yeah, this is one that I like a lot for sure.
All right, fair enough. We have been on a lot of overs, and I got to remind everybody, go on over to the prop shop. You get the best value on the props, okay? It keeps on changing live with the books. So what you see there in the afternoon and the evening may be different than what you see in the morning. Before you go ahead and lock these in, please go on over to the prop shop, get the best value there. Now, we're giving you a lot of overs, but Noops, you have an under, and you have an under in this game. I think the difference between the Knicks game, which is like an 8-9 point spread, and this game, which is like a 2-3 point spread, you talk about the playoff atmosphere, right? I can see this one grinding a little bit more, especially if it is close late. You're on the under in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this game is going to have a real kind of slow, slug-it-out style. You might see some offensive efficiency, but I don't really expect that. Again, we're looking at two of the four best defenses in the NBA. I think a lot of teams match up. One of the things I really liked about Sam's pick, this should be a game where you play Draymond Green a lot of minutes. He is the exact kind of guy you want to go against Alperen Şengün. Şengün was at shoot-around this morning. If he plays, again, this total might tick up. I'll probably take even some more under. Şengün, a really good offensive player, struggles on defense. If he can't play, this is kind of like a dead nut under situation. You're going to see a lot more Amen Thompson, a lot more Tari Eason, and just a game that's going to be a grind. But again, even if Şengün plays, I think the pace of this is going to be very slow. Houston, especially at home, is not interested in pushing the ball, and they know against a team like Golden State that moves the ball well, that has more three-point shooters, faster pace doesn't really help them. So, again, I think we're going to see two good defenses apply their wares very nicely here. It's going to be a game where if you like a more physical, methodical pace, it's going to be a really fun watch. But, again, that's less high offense, less points overall. I had this closer to like 218 when I started looking at it, but anything 222 or better, and I think there's even some 222.5s out there now starting to pop. Looks like a really nice bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Over at FanDuel, at least, last time I checked, it was 222.5. So again, make sure you go on over to the prop shop. And then Sam, we'll go to you. In this game, you have an under as well. I mean, does it correlate to what Newt was saying, kind of the grinded out style, the best defensive teams here in the league? Because you're on Fetty Van going under his PRA.
Yeah, definitely. Coinciding with just a difficult matchup against Golden State. I mean, he's been pretty ice cold as of late. But on the season, he's been under this line in 16 out of 22 games, so that's 72.7%. Overall, he's averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. So his assist rate overall has gone down. We have seen guys like, especially Şengün, take on a much bigger ball handling role. And then you look at it just in general against Golden State. Since he's joined Houston, he's averaging, he's been under this line in all 5 games, averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. So well below this line. And it's just been a great defense since, he's joined Houston. Warriors overall this season, they allow the 3rd fewest points and 5th fewest PRA to opposing point guards. So he's just been in a slump. I actually posted all of his unders. I have his points unders, points plus assists unders. PRA is the one that I probably like the best, just because I mentioned earlier he's taking a much lesser of a ball handling role, so his assist line has been way down. He's, like I said, he's been ice cold shooting, and on top of that, it's just a tough matchup. So sort of fading Fred VanVleet here.
All right, fair enough. I am finding an over, and it is on the rebound sides for Kevon Looney in this game. I like him. Again, go on over to the prop shop. Over 6.5 you can get. You do got to pay the juice minus 140, but over 7.5 is certainly not bad at only minus 105 at DK. And this one also coincides, guys, with a really big increase in minutes for Looney. He's gotten over 21, 22 minutes a game in his last 4 games. He had not reached that level of, time on the court in any of his first 17 games in the season, yet he's over 21 minutes or more in the last 4. So he is on the court more. And why else is Looney on the court if not to grab boards? In those 4 games, he's had 9 or more rebounds. In 3 of the 4 of them, he's averaged 9 rebounds in them. And here's the other part for this. You guys alluded to it with the defense, but Houston they don't shoot the ball well. Okay. They shoot only 44% from the field. They are 27th in the NBA in terms of their shooting percentage from the floor. That obviously is more rebounding opportunities for Looney. We project him to grab 9.28 boards. So that is a big time edge in our prop model, almost a 13% edge. And honestly, anything over 10%, I usually run to the window and play. So this is one of the biggest edges of the night. And I think it's really correlated to the idea that he has been on the court more. And we were talking about this before we went on, Sam. And as soon as I mentioned that this is a play I like, you were like, is that still available? Can I get that? So run to the window and grab this one. Sam, it sounds like you like the play as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. This morning when I was looking at it, most books had it 7.5. Any books that had 6.5 was like minus 160. And honestly, I think it is playable at minus 160. I just wasn't feeling it. But I mean, if I saw that minus 140 line when I was doing the props in the morning, I would have sent it in the Discord. I had it right up there. I will probably when we go off, do a quick little write-up of what I was going to say and put it in the Discord. But no, it's a number that I liked a lot. You hit it on the head. He's getting the minutes, but I mean, I don't think he has to get more than like 22 minutes to grab 7 boards. I mean, he's just a huge dude. And I mean, it's not the best matchup, but 6.5 for him. I mean, like you said, we haven't projected it closer to 9. So yeah, I really like this. I think I do like paying the juice at minus 140, but I think 7.5 is okay too.
Listen, and like you like to do, Sam, right? The little alternate kind of conservative. You could take it down to 6. You get 1-3 from Cat. You get Freddie VanVleet under not 29.5, another 30-something.5. You get Draymond over not only 11, but maybe over 9.5 rebounds and assists. You get OG to get maybe 15 points instead of that. And you can put together something and then get it boosted at most of the books that, as you are saying, are given some of, some kind of offer here for the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. Hey, Noops, let's finish off with this. Where are we finding your work for the rest of the week? Hoops with Noops and all sorts of other good action, right?
As always, you'll see it all on ftnfantasy.com and in the app formerly known as Twitter @_Noops. We'll be back writing some stuff tomorrow. Also going to have some first touchdown scores in the divisional matchup. Should be a lot of fun. I know it'll probably be Kieran Williams or somebody boring like that, but we'll find some value and we'll see if we can hit an underdog.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I mean, Sam, you and I are going to be on the NFL betting show on tomorrow morning. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you want to get something, go get the Puka Nacua over receiving yards. I think it's at like 85.5. This is the dude who has been the best wide receiver in all of football over the last 4 weeks. His 556 yards, his 42 catches lead the NFL. Dude has had 13 or more targets in 3 of his last 5 games. He is heavily targeted by Stafford in a tough divisional matchup. So, Sam, you and I are going to be there on the NFL betting show tomorrow morning, and we're going to give the people what they need, right, Sam?
Oh, yeah. We got the best ball sweat start tomorrow. I mean, you mentioned Puka Nacua. I was lucky enough to get 8 Puka Nacua teams in the Best Ball Mania, which I think is a massive. I mean, the fact that he wasn't even playing most of the season. So I'm definitely pulling hard for that. But it's going to be exciting from Thursday on out. It's sweating it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep it locked there, whether it's Hoops with Noops, whether it's the NFL betting show, the NBA betting show, or you can catch us on the FTN Fantasy Show on SiriusXM channel 87 from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Me and Mike Randall, sometimes Jake Seeley, we are giving you what you need to win your leagues, win that cash, whether it's DFS, whether it's props, whether it's sides, whether it's totals. We are for the numbers, and there's so many great packages, whether it's the baseball early bird special. I told you about FTN Show. Seriously, for the sports fan in your life, for the gambling person in your life, for the fantasy player in your life, it is a perfect stocking stuffer for the holiday season. If you got a little secret Santa at work, give your colleague a subscription to FTN. We are for the numbers and for the people. So for my guy, Sam Chowdhury, and for Noops, as always, I am merely the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, saying get those bets in now before the numbers move, and then come on back next week and thank us because your balance will be a little bit higher. That's about it from us. We out of here. Another NBA betting show in the books. Peace, guys.